Really a charming movie. And of course, Alan Arkin, who played Popi, had already received 2 Academy Award nominations when he made this film. And that same Mr. Arkin, a couple of years ago, at last received an Oscar for his supporting performance in the film Little Miss Sunshine. And I'm here with my co-host, Chon Noriega, to talk more about Popi. This movie is so kind of charming and so really delightful. And it reminded me that Alan Arkin also played a Mexican-American in Freebie and the Bean, didn't he?
Yeah, in 1974, Freebie and the Bean, he's starring opposite James Caan. Yeah. And I remember seeing this as a teenager and just being thrilled by it, because here was the first time I was seeing a Mexican-American character on the screen. And not only that, for a teenage boy, it was a slapstick comedy. There were these amazing chase scenes, and you had these kind of vigilante police that were going to set the story straight. And for the longest time, I thought that Alan Arkin was actually a Chicano, you know. Oh. And the funny thing is, he did these 2 roles, Popi and Freebie and the Bean. They both were made into mid-season replacements for television in the late 70s, early 80s. And Hector Elizondo played both of the characters.
Oh, really?
So this was a big opening for him in terms of getting into television and film.
Sure. And those 2 kids, they were terrific. Have any idea where they got those kids?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. The casting director screened over 5,000 children in New York, ultimately finding the 2 that would play Popi's children. They even did a little documentary about it as a way of showing the process. Unfortunately, Miguel Alejandro, who plays Junior in the film, his next main role would be as a gang member in Badge 373. In 1973, which
shows you something about casting.
It says something about the possibilities that were open to young actors coming into the industry at the time.
Do you know, did anything happen to the other boy?
You know, I think they both had a little bit of experience, mostly in television, but they really didn't have sustained careers.
Well, I'm glad you brought us that movie again. Well, we're going to move on. Up next, another film about family as we continue our look at Latino images in film. This one is a contemporary movie from 1995, starring Edward James Olmos and Jennifer Lopez. Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. I'm back again with Professor and author Chon Noriega, who helped to program our lineup of films, a true expert on how Latinas have been portrayed in the movies. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Robert. It's great to be here.
Good to have you here. Now, up next, we have a very impressive ensemble drama from 1995, written and directed by Gregory Nava. It's called Mi Familia, or My Family. Let's talk about this. Why did you want to include this?
Well, this is a significant film as, just a sweeping epic covering 60 years. It begins with some location scenes shot in Michoacan, Mexico, and then covers the path of a family over the next 3 generations. And the truly amazing thing is it was made on a budget of $5.5 million, which was less money than La Bamba had 10 years earlier. So it's really a tribute to the production team of Anna Thomas and Greg Nava, as well as everyone else that worked on the film, to really give it an epic look. The film is notable because it really marks a decisive shift among Chicano and Latino filmmakers to move away from historical dramas and genre films and begin looking at the family, and in particular to look at a multi-generational large family as itself a cross-section of the Latino community. And I think it's a very interesting shift that takes place. We're still seeing some elements of that in other films that have come out. And you shift away from the idea of trying to represent a very broad community in the terms that Hollywood typically does, which is through an individual. And instead you look at a family that is itself internally diverse. And then this one has an ex-con, an ex-nun, a writer, a lawyer, a housewife, a pachuco. It covers the full gamut of what you would expect to find within the community itself.
Anything we should look for in this film particularly?
Well, I think there are a few things.
Besides Jennifer Lopez?
Yes, she's early. You'll see her early in the film.
Yeah.
I think what's amazing about the film is, in addition to the epic scale of it, is it brings a lot of Latino actors into the industry. And you see some of the standbys, Jimmy Smits, Edward James Olmos, Jennifer Lopez, who's an up-and-coming actor at this point, but also Constance Marie in an early role. She would later go on and co-star in the George Lopez show. But a number of folks who have really been the mainstay of Latino independent film. You have Jenny Gago, you have Enrique Castillo, and the person who's without a doubt the patron saint of Chicano cinema, Lupe Ontiveros. She's always amazing in every role that she has. She's completely underappreciated. She has a really nice role in this film as
Character
well.
actress or
Yes.
leading lady?
Character actress, but just really a dynamic presence in every film that she's in.
Well, let's see the film. It sounds intriguing. Here it is with a cast that includes Jimmy Smits, Isai Morales, Jennifer Lopez, and Edward James Olmos, who is both in the film and narrates it. Here is My Family. That's quite a film. And I'm here with the man who selected it for us to be part of our look at Latino images in films, Chon Noriega, professor, author, and terrific co-host. That seems slightly familiar. Is that from another film, that ending?
Yeah, it's interesting. The ending is actually an homage to Satyajit Ray's The World of Opu in 1959. And in fact, the whole storyline for Jimmy Smits' character, who's also named Jimmy.
Interesting.
Is taken from that film. And it's really interesting because here you have a Mexican-American filmmaker who's doing an homage to one of the classics of world cinema, but he's also making it work for his film. It's a very powerful, emotional scene of a father trying to reconnect with his son and the son's anger at the father and his willingness to try to contain that and to move on.
Everybody's so good in that movie. Jimmy Smits is terrific.
It was by far just a knockout performance for him. It was the kind of star performance that I think everybody knew he was capable of. He just absolutely delivered in this film, and it's widely noted in all of the reviews for this film. It's interesting with Jimmy Smits, he's been around, he's been such a presence in American culture from LA Law onwards. He would go on to play a congressman in The West Wing, and just as the series winding down, he becomes the first Latino president in 2006, and they end the series. And I can't tell you how upset I was. I was like, wait a minute, we're just about to get a Latino president, at least on TV. You know?
Exactly. It's been such a pleasure having you here this month, going through these movies.
Enjoyed it greatly.
You've introduced me to several movies I hadn't seen before, and you have such an interesting insights. Now, you're working all the time as a professor at UCLA.
Yeah, I have a day job, and I teach in the Cinema and Media Studies program at UCLA.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing that since 1992. Time has crept up on me, but I'm getting close to 20 years.
I don't see any gray hair, so it must work out.
I pulled them out.
Oh, okay. Okay. And then you're also involved with your cinema center.
I run the Chicano Studies Research Center, which is actually celebrating its 40th year this year, in 2009. And it's a comprehensive center. It has a library and an archive, the only standalone archive in its field in the country. An academic press. We publish anywhere from 4 to 6 books a year. We have research projects covering almost all the disciplines, and community partnerships. We try to make sure that what we're doing in the academy has some relevance to the community and to the public as well. And I've been doing that for 7 years. I love it. It's a really good chance to work across a number of disciplines, not just film studies.
Great. Thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
It's nice to have you part of the TCM family.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a delight. And you, please stick around because we also have another movie coming up that looks at Latino images. This one's a Western from 1958, starring Sterling Hayden.